Welcome back to the Prof G and Shively Next Play podcast, episode 5. We hit 5. We're not done yet.
We're just going to keep going.
Yeah, we're going to celebrate. So one day we'll celebrate the 100th episode.
That'd be fun.
Be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we're back today to talk again on everything Justice Athletics, and had a busy week last week, although not much at home.
A lot of road games, but a lot of results to talk about here.
Absolutely. So women's soccer will kick us off again like we have the past couple podcasts. They had a couple of trips last week, one to Prescott and one to California. Right?
They did. On the 10th, they went up to Prescott and played. They're telling me nationally ranked Embry-Riddle.
Okay.
I couldn't confirm that. I tried to.
We'll just call that a loss. We don't even need to touch on the score if you don't want to. I mean, you can, but
again, they're playing a much more established program.
Sure.
With a lot of more clout nationally. Aaliyah Myers had the goal in that game.
Okay, so let's back up to our previous podcast.
Right.
When I called for a good game, which we didn't really get if you look at the final score.
Right.
You called for a goal, so you were right and I was wrong.
We got a goal. Aaliyah Myers got a goal about halfway through the second half there. Mm-hmm. 20 minutes in maybe to the second half. And again, when you are getting, they went down. I'll say this part. They went down 8-0.
We can give the score. It finished off 12-1.
Yes,
so.
They went down 8-0 at the half. Any team would want to quit, right? And they didn't. They scored a goal. They really, if you look at the second half, 4-1, much better, much more competitive score there.
Yep.
That first half, they got a little. I don't know if this is honestly going to play that much of a factor. A little bit higher elevation.
Oh, it does. I talked to a couple of players and said the elevation was crazy, and especially for those that haven't ever played in it before.
In that first half, getting your legs under you is where it hits. And so, again, we're not making excuses for them, but a tough opponent. And again, we saw this with men's basketball last year too. Playing these tougher opponents, the hope for the coaches is that it will benefit them long term, learning things, seeing the talent that to aspire to, and things like this. And so, Prescott was tough, but they, a lot of the students I was talking to, they weren't that discouraged. They had things they were still encouraged about and
Prescott
proud of.
has not been kind to our teams this year thus far.
Right.
Volleyball, I think, was 0-2, and now we got women's soccer. But hey, like you said, growing experience. Embry-Riddle is a little bit ahead of us in terms of length of program and all that. But I think the consistent thing that we're seeing, though, is that never say die kind of mentality of women's soccer.
Yes.
They don't seem to quit on them, and I think that's partially coaching, but partially recruiting the right character girls as well. So,
right.
Yeah.
And then they have kind of a little quirk of the schedule. They had one game get rescheduled to this week, so they drove out for one game just to come back and to drive out again for another game this week. So that's tough. But they went out again on the 13th, and they played Saturday. They played Stanton, and that one was really close at the half. It was 2-0. And Stanton got quite a few goals at the end there when the decision of the outcome was determined already, and so 5 more goals got let in late, and so 7-0 on that one.
Yep, and that Stanton is at least in some of the sports part of our conference as well. I think Stanton we played in men's soccer at least before. I'm not sure if the women have.
Yes,
but that's beginning to be a familiar foe. And, those long road trips are tough, and especially, like you said, to go out for one game and turn around and come back.
Right.
That's tough. I do know that volleyball was also in California, and they were able to catch the game because they were in the same area, which was kind of cool.
That was cool.
Yeah,
I love that, seeing them support each other out. So the volleyball team came. They were in the stands for the women's soccer game there against Stanton.
I got to say, there's worse places to be in the evening than California watching a soccer game outside.
Oh, it sounds refreshing.
It does, especially since it's still 100 degrees here.
Yes.
So women's soccer, unfortunately, doesn't play at home until the 4th of October. We're looking forward to seeing them come back. In the meantime, they do have a game, like you said. They're going to play Westcliff, and then they're going to also play Whittier, which I'm not familiar with Whittier, but on the 20th. That's Saturday. So Westcliff is Thursday night, Whittier is Saturday. So we'll see how those 2 games go for the ladies. Men's soccer.
So they went out on Thursday, I believe it was, down to ACU.
Yes.
and was also a tough final there. It was a kind of a glitchy live stream. I saw the final minutes, but they also took a 7-0 loss on that one.
Yeah. ACU, again, not making excuses. Bigger school, bigger program, longer longevity. But, I mean, our guys are usually pretty competitive there, so definitely was not their best game.
Soccer field, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a little bit room for difference in like size of a soccer field.
I think they call it a pitch.
A pitch, you're right.
I'm just kidding.
Good call.
You're usually the one that corrects me on that stuff, so I'm just
I think a soccer pitch is wider than a football field. Because I was watching and it was confusing to me because they were playing, which would have been out of bounds on a football field, but they were still inbounds in the soccer.
So they use the same field as a football field, but
it's
they
another
draw the lines further out.
Yeah, it's like a 5 or 10 yard wider.
All I know is it's far, and I would never attempt to run that field all day.
And they were using the full 100 yards because the goals were in the end zone, but they were set. You think to yourself, a football field is the biggest playing surface that we have in sports. Soccer pitches are bigger; they're wider.
Wider, probably.
Yeah, for sure.
Jinx, got you on that one.
That was good.
Yeah.
Good job.
So they went out, tough one to ACU, but good news, they go out to Ottawa on the far west side, and they take the game 3-2 out there.
They did.
When they went out there, and again, Yahir scoring 2 goals. And then according to one of my students, I think Pauly is Pablo, is that right?
I think so. So that's Pauly.
Because I always say Pauly. So
Pauly's cemented himself as kind of the number 2 scorer right now.
Yeah, he got the third goal on that one.
To Yahir, yeah. Yahir, I think that's his 3rd or 4th brace of the year, which is the 2-goal effort.
Yeah, I think I was counting with the guys yesterday. I think it's probably 9 or 10 goals on the season for him, which is a really good offensive season.
It is.
And they get the win against, again, a bigger program out there in Ottawa. So
yeah.
Good momentum going into this weekend. They're playing here at home against Nelson, our friends from the West, from California. No, from Phoenix. I'm sorry. I'm thinking
they're from
Stanton.
Here, yeah.
Stanton was in my head from earlier, and I was thinking California. Nelson is our in-town rival. So they'll be here at 1 o'clock on Saturday, the 20th. So get out and support your Lions if you're free. Then they'll head out. We'll have another podcast before then, but they're going to head out on another roadie to go play against Nobel and Nelson the next 2 games as well. So, yeah, good encouraging things from them. I think, again, what we're seeing is aggressiveness. I think there was a play where one of those students told me that Gabe just about took out the goalie in a clean way, perfectly legal play, but just his aggressiveness to the ball. And I think that's something we continue to see with the men's soccer team is that they don't really sit back and wait. They're usually pretty aggressive when it comes to that. And that can be a fault, right? Because you're over-aggressive, you get beat, and then that's in trouble. So,
and I think Coach Levi's been moving around some of the players a little bit. I know one of his main goalkeepers, he's turned into a backline defender, and just tinkered with the lineup just a little bit to benefit off the strengths of the players and keep legs fresh with they only have a couple subs when everyone's healthy.
Right.
So they're pretty light on bodies at times, and they've been banged up. So.
Yeah. Well, we're happy. We'll be broadcasting. That's the next Prof G and Shively broadcast live as well on Saturday here at the Justice Field. So get out here. But if you can't get out here, tune in on YouTube.
Absolutely.
And check that out. And busy week for women's volleyball last week as well.
Yes, they did.
They had a road trip as well and got 2 consecutive match wins against West Coast Baptist, one of our inter-conference rivals that we've played consistently for the past few years. 3 sets to, was it 3-1 and 3-0?
3-1 and 3-0.
Yep. So 6 out of 7 ain't bad for a couple of days against an opponent. And then went to Westcliff, who unfortunately came here and beat us. And we went out there hoping for some revenge. Didn't come out that way. 3-0 was the set count in favor of the opponent. So what are you hearing? What did you hear anything about that road trip from any of your students?
Yeah, so I watched all of the game on Thursday. And
West Coast.
The West Coast victory. And definitely a lot of what we even saw last night in the game. You just see when they're on, they're clicking, good sets, really good talking. The block is such an important factor. And so when the block is on, everything else is flowing too. Good serves from some of their service, their serve masters, if you will. And so again, they lost. I believe they lost the second set they lost the third set. So they took the first two, lost the third set, then they won the fourth on the Thursday game, and then Friday they took straight sets.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, Westcliff is got their number a little bit this year, in their head a little bit this year, I think. And so hopefully they'll remember that for next year. And,
well, they got a little swagger. We said when they were here, which, according to sources that will remain nameless, they may have turned that from a little bit of swagger into a little bit of
cocky.
Well, cocky and even trash talk, taunting, in not a kind way necessarily. So definitely, a couple of the girls I talked to came back saying, we're going to go back next year and beat them just because of how they acted when we were there. So, it is what it is, and I guess if that's bulletin board material, then that's good. But
use the chip. Why not?
You always seem to have that one team when you play sports that's like, it's like, what were we talking about the other day? The Cardinals and the Panthers played this past weekend in the NFL. And the Panthers just seem to be one of those teams that's like, no matter how bad they are, they seem to beat the Cardinals.
Right.
And not that Westcliff's bad, although their record would say they're not great.
Right.
But same thing with like the Rockies and the Diamondbacks in pro baseball, and maybe this is becoming, hey, we got to get over that hump and beat them and then gain a little bit more momentum. So women's volleyball then last night on our live broadcast took set number 2. Against Benedictine, who's also a well-established program. Didn't get the match win, Matt.
Did not get the match win, but I still was encouraged watching that game. Definitely, Benedictine took the first set pretty handily, and then they came right back and took set 2, and definitely looked much more so cohesive. Again, the block was on, and some of the players that we haven't called their name as like key players in every match, but they really stepped up in that second set. Lana Hoffman, Lizzie Simmons as well. And, it was pretty. Coach Chrissy also mentioned that Alyssa was nursing an injury. She played, but she didn't play on the front line. And she kind of looked definitely like she was nursing an injury. I'll put it that way. But she played well in her. But again, their presence, even when they're hurt on the court, sometimes can really speak volumes to their younger teammates as well. So second set looked great. And then third set looked much more like the first set. Then the fourth set, they were, I believe, 16-16.
Well, we actually had we were up a couple points before that, and then it came back to an even game at about 16, I think.
And then I believe
just pulled away.
Yeah, Benedictine took 9 out of the last 10 points to run away with it. And so maybe ran out of gas there a little bit. But again, really encouraged. They have some really good momentum that they build with some of their when certain people are serving, it seems like they really feel confidence. And
it was kind of a Braden Calamity and Sam Atwood show last night on the serving line.
A little bit.
Coach Chrissy, you talked to her after the game last night, and she was talking about how banged up the team is, but how impressed she is with how well they still come together and push through those injuries. And this is what she had to say about that.
Alyssa did not play the front row. We rested her as much as we could. Unfortunately, we need to do that just to preserve her knee. Maddie is coming off of a concussion. Gosh, she's had so many concussions since she's played, but a pretty severe concussion. Lay is still working through like a bunch of injuries. So they all just gave everything they had this match, and I could not be more proud of them.
So being banged up, obviously a challenge for the Lions, but at the same time, like you said, newcomers stepping up this year. Freshmen, and Coach Chrissy had mentioned that as well, that the freshmen are stepping up and the seniors and juniors are helping to lift them up, which is what she wants to see with the program. You talked to a newcomer as well after the game last night. She seemed a little shy to get the interview at the beginning, but she jumped right in. Lana Hoffman had a spectacular game. Do you have any stats that you kept from last night? I think just off the top of my head, she had like 5 or 6 kills and 3 or 4 blocks.
I think that sounds right.
Yeah.
And she was, that second set, she was everywhere. She was
And I think the difference
around.
between her and Sam Atwood against some of the others is when they go up, just because of the height, that ball goes up and then straight down in front of the net. And that's very hard to defend on the defensive side.
Sam's a little taller, but Lana's got some elevation when she jumps. And I think that's her skill for sure that she adds.
You asked her what it was like to be a part of this team for the first year, and this is what she had to say about the experience of playing with her teammates.
I think just the girls, the environment, they're all fun. No one has any problems with each other. And I feel like even if we lose a game really bad, we come back to practice and we work on what we need to and enjoy each other.
So Lana seems to be fitting right in with the rest of the team. Still got a ways to go in terms of getting where they want to be from a win-loss standpoint, but I think last week is some good momentum. Again, they played a solid program last night and took a set. So I think we're on the right track there. Next game for them is on Monday. That is against, I got to pull my schedule out, Chandler Gilbert Community, so right down the road, about 2 miles from us. Playing here for that, and then they play also next week against Arizona Christian on the road. So it'll be a couple of good tests for them as well. So just, I think consistency too is what we're seeing. Tell me if I'm wrong, but all the sports, it seems like if the team that they're playing against gets a fast start, it's really tough for them to come back. I mean, you look at how soccer works out, 8-0 at halftime. I mean, what are you going to do with that?
Right.
Volleyball last night was, I think, 11-4 at one point in the first set. That's really hard to come back from. So I won't call them slow starts necessarily, but I think they take a few minutes to kind of get their bearings of what's happening and what the opponent's going to do.
In the set they won, I believe they started 5-0 on that set.
Yeah.
And so, same thing. Momentum, people say momentum is mythical in sports, but it isn't. It totally is
just
real.
Just like crowd noise is not mythical either. That momentum of crowd noise helps you too.
And you get rolling downhill and things start to click and good things happen, and then vice versa. When you feel it slipping, it feels like it's going downhill the other way.
Yeah.
And
both coaches last night, I thought, did a great job of calling those timeouts right at the moment of, okay, we got to stop this snowball from rolling down the hill here before it gets too far away from us.
Right. In basketball and volleyball, that is your placement of timeouts is key because of how quick moving momentum can be. Mm-hmm. In games like football, you only get 3.5. You got to be a little more strategic. It's more about the end of the half and saving the timeouts for clock management, right? But volleyball and basketball especially, those timeouts, the placement of those timeouts are really, really important. Mm-hmm. Again, like you said, I think Chrissy's doing a great job. I think Coach BJ does a good job with that on the basketball side of things. We'll get more into that in the spring for sure. But
good to see the basketball guys out there again last night.
It was good to see all the
Not
coaches
just the players,
were there.
but the coaches, yeah. That's important. Model from the top, right?
That's good. Yeah, It's good. They were there supporting, and what I love about Justice, I don't know if this is true in a lot of other colleges, but a lot of our coaches are actually students here, which is neat.
Or have been.
Or have been.
Anymore. Yeah.
Yes. BJ, one of our original graduates, Coach Greg is in the classroom finishing his degree.
Corbin
graduated last year. Mm-hmm. And so these guys, a lot of them in taking the job, they're the age you would expect of coaches perhaps, but they realized they had goals to get their education and get their degree. And again, another great example from the top. I think that's awesome. Chrissy's a teacher here.
Yep.
So she shows that example from the teaching side of things.
Can't really segment things a lot. Chrissy's a coach and a teacher because there's obviously smaller schools, smaller budget, less funds available. You can't just go out and hire somebody necessarily to do one thing in every sport. You have to have them do other things. I know Coach Navarro for women's soccer also helps with financial aid.
Exactly.
They wear different hats around the school for sure.
I kind of love that. I kind of love that about we are small, we are new, ish, and of course we have to wear multiple hats and we have to hustle.
Which year is it going to be, Matt, that we can no longer say, well, we're a newer program, and at what point does that happen? Because we're saying that a lot, and I think it's warranted right now. But
yeah, maybe. I mean, we have a conference championship, so I was going to say maybe until we get a conference, we have one of those.
Is it sport dependent then? We can't say that anymore in basketball.
I would say probably we're about at that place because we're 5 years in. We're more than 4 years in. Mm-hmm. We've had a full graduating class.
There's still something to say when we play a D1 team. You can still say, oh, we're a newer program.
Yeah.
But if you're playing apples to apples, I mean, we've been around a while now. So
we have, yeah.
Very cool. One last thing to touch on. Just you wanted to chat about this today, and I thought it was a great idea. Just about the load of a student athlete. And I love how you always say you're a student athlete, not an athlete student.
Yes.
These guys and gals don't have it easy when it comes to their workload, do they?
They don't. We don't have a lot of NIL deals at Justice either.
A lot?
Any. Let's be honest. And
I'm
so
determined to make my company the first NIL deal. I'm going to buy them a Whataburger if they sign up as that's their NIL. I'm just kidding.
can broadcasters get NIL deals?
Yeah. You know what? I think.
Can you sign me?
Yep, I'll sign you. Tell you what, every other week I'll buy you lunch. How about that?
Hey, let's do it. Sounds
right.
like a plan.
You just have to promote my business too.
All right, sounds
Okay,
good. Sounds good. Yeah, because so we have a lot of students here that their dream was to play college athletics. They wanted to keep playing at the next level when they finished their high school careers. Perhaps there wasn't, a lot of D1 offers maybe for a lot of these students, but they still love the game. And they're all really good athletes. And so they came to our program. Some of them, like I think of you here, I think of our volleyball seniors, when it was...
There was no program?
There wasn't a program even. It was a hope of a program. And they stuck it out and they fought. And so they get into these 15-passenger vans with suspect air conditioning, and they drive across the desert to California. I remember that when we had our women's basketball program, they drove all the way to, where was it, Idaho? This like trip to Idaho. It's like a trip.
Remember last year men's basketball went from Texas to New Mexico to Utah on one road trip.
Like a 3-state swing.
Yep.
And I'm sure they're complaining along the way. I'm not in there to...
Hey, man, I don't fit in the car. I'm 6'5". I cannot imagine being some of these guys that are 6'8", 6'9", trying to fit in the van with 14 other guys.
So I can't blame them for being cramped up in vans and not being happy about it. But I remember getting a call when the van had a flat tire in the middle of the freeway and had to get a tow truck. And like these stories happen. But they are doing it all for the love of the game.
Team building,
which it really
imagine
is.
Building a team. Imagine how you have to behave when you're locked on the side of the road with the rest of your team.
I know that really does. And then a lot of these athletes, they also need to work a part-time job to go here. They've got their studies. Some of these guys are commuting from the West Valley to come here for practice and class and games. And so
they may or may not have coaches coming from North Phoenix to come down here and invest in these programs as well. So
we do. Another one of the newer basketball coaches was telling me he drives from Deer Valley, and that's a hike.
Yep.
And so it's a commitment.
It sounds like a hike, man. Deer Valley. It sounds just like it's far away for some reason. I don't know.
It sounds like a place where there'd be good hiking, actually.
And maybe some deer.
Good things to see on your hike.
Only in the valley, though.
Yes, that's where they drink from the streams. It's beautiful.
Yeah, we have all kinds of streams in Phoenix.
But they're usually metaphorical streams because there's no water in them. But we see these guys. You and I, our vantage point from being professors, and also now as we're watching these games, we're calling these games. We see the effort they put in. Having to manage, and the nature of these small schools, the schedule changes a lot on them, practice and game. And so managing that with their classes and their home life and their jobs that they have. And then if they're in a relationship or just their friendships, and it takes a lot of balance. And so, this is both, I'm impressed, but also hopefully they listen to this and they're encouraged. Like, that balance is key to keep going, or you will burn out in life. We know this.
That's my class I teach this semester, is personal development, basically. And so we talk a lot about that, goal setting and time blocking and, creating priorities and triage and all these different things.
Self-care.
Self-care is huge. It's amazing to me how these students can do it. And it's gotten better in the last 12 months because we have access to FAFSA at least now. Yeah. So they're getting some Pell Grants and some other things too, which helps. They may not have to work as much. But some of them still, they have to pay for their housing, and they have to pay, so they have to have a job. And that's tough. In fact, we saw, I think, one of the players last week or 2 weeks ago didn't make a game because they had to work.
Right.
And that's just how, that used to happen frequently in the first couple of years.
Yes.
This last year, that might have been 1 or 2 times I've heard of that happening where a work schedule got in the way of something. But yeah, the changes and things that come with a small program, things like, the field's not ready for us. Now we're playing across town, and our time changed. Right. And I was supposed to work at 4:00, and now I got to play a game at 4:00. That just managing all that is a lot. So, well done to you, student athletes.
Yes.
And I know so far, at least this semester, I'm seeing good performance out of the athletes as well in terms of academically. And I hope that continues. And attendance, I'm seeing that.
Yeah,
that tends to get challenging as your season wears on.
It does.
I'll just sleep in a little bit, but they can't really do that with 6 a.m. practices either.
And Coach Chrissy talked about that. They practice at 6 a.m. I know a lot of the basketball guys, they're practicing if it's not 6 a.m., they're ending at about 8:30. So
They're
they've been
not
going.
practicing.
They're all the time, and it's
We were
great.
at the game. Every game we broadcast about for volleyball, it's like the nets came down and now the guys are practicing.
Yeah,
So they're definitely invested. Even if the coaches aren't around there and they're shooting and all that. So yeah, big schedules. Triage is important. I tell people, like, you got to figure out what's next and tackle that rather than spending too much time stressing of what's coming in 2 or 3 weeks. Especially when you're busy like that, you have to have some sort of a deal with now as opposed to what's later. Because that's what does the Bible verse say? Don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow has its own problems.
right,
That's kind of the mentality of a student athlete. I would think you got to deal with what's in front of you.
right. Take it one day at a time, and it's good life skills. Prioritizing and balancing work-life balance they're going to use that
How proud do
their
you
whole
feel when
life.
you graduate too? When you're like, I worked through college.
Oh, yeah.
I played sports. I got a degree. Like, that's impressive.
And you're going to tell your kids about how hard you worked to get that one day, and your grandkids. And
When they're like, I have too much homework, you're like, let me tell you about my college days.
yeah, and they walked uphill to school.
It doesn't take you long to get the old
15 minutes in the
day.
snow, both ways in Chandler, Arizona. Probably not that much snow or uphill, but that's okay.
That's true.
But they're working hard.
I was thinking about your stream comment earlier. It's usually during the monsoons, the rain that goes down the curb. That's like our streams
That's
in
a stream.
Phoenix. So,
That's a stream.
yeah. Well, good job, student athletes. Keep that up this semester. And those of you coming to play spring ball, baseball and basketball, keep all that in mind. Balance is key. And, reach out to your support network if you need it, too, because that's huge. You can't carry it all yourself either. Any last parting thoughts before we end the episode for the day?
I think, just keep supporting these athletes, and as fans, we're also committing to some level of coming to odd timed games at weird locations and at 1:00 when it's still 100 degrees, soccer games and things like this. And so your efforts to support these guys, we have a couple super fans that I'm really impressed with.
Jamie Webb is
Jamie Webb, we should say
She
her
was at
name.
Ottawa when they won that game. I'm like, she went out to
Jamie.
surprise. Good for you, Jamie.
Jamie is a super fan, and she loves her some soccer.
Yep.
And loves our students here.
Yeah.
And so I love that. That kind of thing doesn't go unnoticed. That's all I wanted to say about that. It's
Yeah, the
appreciated.
athletes notice when you're on the sideline.
Oh, yeah. They appreciate that so
For
much.
sure. And even when I heard last night that some of the athletes watch back our broadcast and they can see their family or friends in the audience, which, or even like, oh, look at all these people that were watching at this time or whatever. So be involved, be supportive of these students, and get out to games if you can, or tune in if you can't, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, we will see you guys at our next broadcast on Saturday at 1 p.m. for men's soccer. Other than that, we will talk to you again next week.
Peace.